Hey guys, so this is going to be the part of the test here where I'm going to top this battery right up. So I have it set here. You can see it'll be voltage up to 14.9. I'll charge it at constant voltage with half an amp, and the cutoff current will be 300 milliamps. So it's all turned on here. All I have to do is hit start. So the battery's already charged. I'm just topping this up. And then what I'm going to do is pull 1 amp out of it. And then we're going to run the motor. And we're going to do 2 different tests. One with just a constant charge without the cap dump circuit hooked to it. And then we're going to do a charge with the cap dump. This won't take very long to get going. It's charged already, so. Stay tuned. Okay, so my discharge here is almost finished. It's 14 amp hour lead antimony. So I've got it, it's gonna go for an hour at 1 amp discharge, so 60 minutes. So what I'm gonna do here, this is probably gonna be the voltage it stops at, 12.5. Yeah, so it's done. I haven't touched anything, it just ended there. So it was at 12.5. Cutoff volt right here, 12.5. I'll end up taking a screenshot of this. Actually, I'll probably just save it right now. See the picture. So I have that 12.5 cut off, begin 12.9, but what I'm going to do is put it on the machine. I'm just going to put it on here. Everything's ready. These two are both charged up again. Once I get my meters and everything all hooked up, the scope here hooked to the same way it was before. And I'm going to run it at 1 watt. About 49 milliamps going in on each side. And I'm going to charge it up to, I think, about 14.1 volts. With the cap dump, without the cap dump first. And then I'm going to do the same test. But I'm going to discharge it back down to 12.5 volts. After I bring it up to 14.1 on this test. And then I'll discharge it this time at the same 1 amp down to 12.5. And whatever amp hours it gives me is what I'll have to see if the dump load circuit is better or not. I'm going to do that with this lead acid battery. It also has some lithium ion batteries to try, or some lipos to try also. But this is the first test anyway. Start going here. Okay, I've just turned it on here. Starting voltage was 12.76. With this here for speed. frequency. Let's do it about 210 RPMs at that frequency. There's 12 north-south magnets on there. That's how we can tell the RPMs. 12 divided by 6 and then times 60. That's your RPMs. Not 12. Sorry about that. 21. Frequency. That's the current going in. It's about a 1 watt per side. Somewhere between 30 and 50 milliamps on average. That's the output. These gauges are in series. I can just bypass the gauges with these switches here. Sort of. It's not perfect. It does cut the current going across pretty good, but there's still some that goes through the gauges when I turn it on. I'm going to bypass them. Still see it still reads a little bit. Not perfect. But at least I won't fry my gauge if I have to hook something on. That'll need when the dump circuit's going. So yeah, leave it run like that. First test. It's at we got here 3 hours in. First test. Everything's stable. This one's using a bit less power. This side I'm not going to touch nothing though. Do both tests with the same settings. It's battery voltage now. That's a 5-bladed 15-inch. It comes off an old oscillating fan, Black & Decker, Silent Force. It's all twisted and stuff from, it never was very straight even when it was on the original fan, but it's got, it blows quite a bit of air. It's really quiet. It's going like it's 210 RPMs. Let's do the math real quickly here. $21 divided by 6 times 60. Yeah, 210 RPMs. 15-inch, 5-bladed. And it's the output. Same as before. Just want to do a quick update before I go in. Hi guys, so I'm about to shut this down here at 13.86 volts. It's been one full day of it running, 24 hours. to that voltage there, that current going in. I've not touched anything. This came down a little bit because the voltage in the batteries have dropped a bit. You can't see it much on these gauges, but it's probably dropped a tenth of a volt almost. It was over 26.7. I was bouncing off of that when I started. So I'll turn this off. I'll have to recharge both of these batteries. I'll fully charge them again. And then this one, I'm going to discharge it down to 12.5 volts after I let it sit for a bit. Discharge it to 12.5. Find out how many amp hours I get out of it by doing that. And then I'm going to fully charge it right up again, same way I charged it before this test. And then I'll let it sit again and then discharge it, pulling 1 amp out of it. And then it'll be ready to get charged with the dump circuit. It's all ready to go right here. So I have to hook it up. So we can do that now. Okay, I'm here now. I got the battery on there hooked up. So do the discharge here, 1 amp, cutoff volt 12.5, max time 300 minutes. It shouldn't take that long. I just put it that long so it doesn't shut off before it hits 12.5 volts. So start. So discharge just ended and it's cut off 12.5, 576 milliamp hours, 7.244 watt hours, 7.2 watt hours. So that's it for that, and I'm going to recharge it now. Anyway, so I got this all charged up here. It's been resting overnight. It's a bit higher, 12.93. Last time I did this discharge, it was 12.9 when I rested overnight, so it's really close. So let's program this up here. Put 1 amp for 60 minutes. And this I'll just put lower than it will be so it won't trigger the cutoff voltage. 12.35 will be good. Just have to hit start. Should be good to go. So it'll run for an hour. It'll pull an amp out. And then I'll go with that reading when I get that done. Hey guys, so I've just finished discharging this one, 1 amp out of it. Pulled an amp for 60 minutes. The cutoff voltage was 12.38 this time. Beginning was 12.93. So that's the variables I have to deal with this lead acid battery. The next test should be a little better because I'm going to probably either use a lipo or a lithium ion. And then maybe after that I'll do a lithium iron phosphate. See which ones are the most accurate and which ones give the best results. Right now I'm just trying to figure out what is more efficient way to use the output, like with a cap dump or just direct. Okay, it's up and running here now. Get the speed. Everything's fully charged here on this side, so the hertz are a little bit higher again. But where it started last time. Battery voltage was 12.64 starting. Got the cap dump going. It's dumping about half an amp every time. This gauge is bypassed, but there's still residual, it's still trying to flow through it. This is the one that's accurate. The inputs are up here. And it's still just over 210 RPMs. I have a capacitor parallel with the battery just to try to get the most power into the battery. Like whatever the battery doesn't absorb when it pulses it, cap should absorb it and then slowly let it into the battery in between pulses. The caps are up here. Two large super capacitor banks. So I'm gonna bring it up to 13.86. And go from there. Okay, here's the second test going. It's been going for about 4 hours and 18 minutes now. Well, it looks like I forgot to reset the clock on this one. Everything else was reset. Just have to go by the clock on this one. Turned on at the same time, so actually it looks like I didn't reset anything on this one. That's fine. The watts are pretty close to the same. And I can go by this one. All I really want right now is the time on this setting. Everything else is the same. I haven't touched any of the controls on the driver circuits. All I did was add the dump circuit. That's the speed. It's measuring the voltage off of one of the high voltage coils down there, the middle one. It's hooked to the AC of the bridge rectifier. Right here. So there's the frequency, 21 hertz, and the voltage, 15 volts. This is the voltage of the battery. So it's already a lot further behind than what it is when it's hooked directly to the battery. It started at about a tenth of a lower of a volt. Like it started 12.64 on this test after I discharged it. And when the first test, it started at 12.76, if I remember right. Somewhere around there. After resting for a bit, after the discharge. So it's quite a bit further behind, because I think on the first test, if I remember right, it was like 3 hours in, it was already over 13.1. So just leave it go. I'm gonna do a 24-hour run just like I did on the last one. It'll be the exact same length of time. And then we're going to discharge the battery down to whatever it was. I'll have to go look back at the records there and see what I discharged it to, what the voltage was. And that's how far I'm going to discharge it, to see how many amp hours are in it. Well, you guys, so It's been 24 hours, same as the last test. Used the same amount of power too. You look back in the last one, it's really close to the same. This one I forgot to reset though, but it'll be identical. It's so high because it reads both ways, and when I recharge the battery, I didn't reset it. Or no, I think I reset it before I charged the battery. So you got all the recharge and the discharge yet on this, on the amp hour. But here's the meters. Same as before. So in the last hour, it's went up from 3.40 to 3.47. There's the scope. I don't know if I've showed this before. I'll do this real quick. So I'll just move this. I'll give it a pause here. So right here, let me get a better shot here. Move it. So now you can see the whole thing. I'll pause it. Move this over. So this is the whole on series up here, but it's only on where it's flat right here on the top. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. This is the back spike, which is going into the super cap bank and then gets put through the cap dump into the battery. This is a back spike that comes off of the back spike right here, which gives more push on the motor. So let me do this. So you see these, this is each time the Hall effect passes the magnet, it's on, puts all these pulses, and then it turns off. So it does that 6 times per revolution, because there's 12 north-south magnets. And it does that on each side of the motor. But that's that. So it's time to turn this off and do a discharge on it. Hey guys, so I got the battery here on the discharger. It's been sitting for a bit. So now I have to discharge this one to 12.38 volts. Because that's where it ended when I pulled the 1 amp out of it. 1 amp hour. So we'll see. The variables are a bit different. But after this lead acid test, we're going to move on to something like lithium ion or lithium polymer lipo. So just have to hit start here and it'll pull 1 amp of current to up to a voltage of 12.38 volts. Okay guys, so I've just did the discharge test on the battery. This is after the cap dump discharge. And I got 1039 milliamp hours out of it. 12.96 watt hours. By bringing it down to 12.38 volts. You can see that. So definitely got a lot more out of it with the lead acid battery, but I'm going to eliminate the variables. I think I'm going to do my next test with this laptop battery. It's brand new, never been used. So I will just, well, I've actually charged each cell up already individually, 4.2 volts with this tester here. So it is fully charged and equaled. And we're going to do a similar test with that. Yeah, here's the results. So first test, I discharged 1 amp hour out of it. So that was 1 amp for 60 minutes to 12.5 volts is where it ended at when I pulled that 1 amp out. 1 amp hour out of it. That equals 12.53 watt hours. And then it was on the motor for 24 hours without the cap dump. Voltage reached 13.86 volts. And then I discharged the battery to the 12.5 volts that it hit up here, which equaled 576 milliamp hours or 7.2 watt hours. And that was without the cap dump. So test 2 was with the cap dump. I had fully charged the battery again. And then I discharged 1 amp hour out of it. So 1 amp for 1 hour to 12.38 volts it went down to, which is 12.44 watt hours. And it was on the motor again for 24 hours with the cap dump. Voltage reached 13.48 volts. And then I discharged it to that same 12.38 volts that it hit up here when I discharged it the first time. And that equaled 1039 milliamp hours or 12.96 watt hours with the cap dump. So results with the cap dump, without. But a lot of that stuff could be with the variables with the battery, like what I just said too. Like I'm gonna eliminate the lead acid variables and try to go to lithium ion for now. And then after that, I'm gonna do lithium polymer, lipo. And then after that, it's either going to be supercaps or lithium iron phosphate. Trying to stay away from the lithium iron phosphate because voltage is really hard to tell capacity. But we'll see anyways. See what I could do. Thanks for watching, guys. Always appreciate it.